The move by the federal government today, banning the use of TikTok, that app, on government devices, makes sense. Is it overdue?
No, I think this is a really good move by the Albanese government. I don't mind that they went last on this one. You know, Australia went first on banning Huawei from 5G. We don't have to be first every time to take a security action against a Chinese entity. The Chinese are in a charm offensive with the Albanese government. They were communicating on Chinese social media what a great fellow Dan Andrews was during the week of the Aston by-election campaign, in a hope that this would influence the 15% of Aston voters who are of Chinese background. Not sure that it did that. And there was some advice which we revealed in The Australian from the Prime Minister's Department saying if you do this, it'll look like you're singling out Chinese companies. But the Albanese government had unequivocal advice from its security agencies that TikTok was a security risk and it would be prudent to ban it on government phones. So once again, the Albanese government has done the right thing by national security at the same time as it's trying to pursue a calm relationship with China. A few weeks back, it got rid of Chinese manufactured surveillance cameras on government department buildings and so forth. So time after time, I mean, I'm not exactly a softie on China, but every time the Albanese government does the right thing, and I think we're certainly well advised to give the Albanese government some latitude in timing. So, you know, it may be that the Chinese government can convince the Albanese government to go soft eventually, but there's no sign of it so far. From nuclear submarines to TikTok, this government has made every national security call right, in my opinion.
And when it comes to managing the two channels of that relationship, both the security and the economic and constructive relationship with China, I just noticed this afternoon a story out of the South China Morning Post that China has issued an in-principle invitation to Anthony Albanese to visit Beijing, and the dates that the South China Morning Post referred to, most likely September or October. So that would see a further thaw in relations if that were to eventuate, Greg.
That's right. Now, I don't think we should get too fussed about the bilateral relationship, to be honest with you, Kieran. I may be in a minority of analysts here. Nothing we do really has much effect on the bilateral relationship. This is Beijing making its own internal decisions that it's moved globally from a wolf warrior outlook, which did it so much harm and revealed the true nature of China to Western electorates all over the world. Now it's moving back into its charm offensive. But underlying all that, the deep strategic reality hasn't changed. They still mount cyber attacks on us every day. They still penetrate Japanese and Taiwanese airspace every day. They still threaten our ships and planes if we get anywhere near their illegally claimed and illegally built artificial islands in the South China Sea. They're still trying to interfere in our politics every day. All of that strategic reality has not changed. There's a danger that with people like Paul Keating advocating the Chinese government position within the Labor Party and them doing a charm offensive with the Albanese government, that we wrongly prioritise the bilateral relationship as such. But even all the years of their wolf warrior hostility to the Morrison government, we lost very little. We lost a little bit of trade, but almost nothing. But I've got to pay tribute to the Albanese government. They have calmed the relationship down whatever was necessary from our end, just not using such, high-octane rhetoric. But they've kept all the decisions of substance going. AUKUS, the Quad, banning TikTok, all the rest of it. So if they invite Albo in September and he goes there, that's great. He can have a handshake and a hug with Xi Jinping. That's fantastic. But we mustn't ever think that that means the deep strategic contradiction between Beijing, which still wants a military base in the South Pacific, which would radically compromise our national security. The contradiction between their interests and our interests continues, and our government has to manage it calmly and well, which is exactly what it's doing so far.